for my final project, I decided to make a video on the expectations versus reality on stereotypes for Puerto Ricans when it comes to social media. And all of the following stories have happened to me at least a few times, definitely more than 5 in every occasion, but these are definitely the most common misconceptions that I get with Puerto Ricans. Why don't you look Puerto Rican? And this is a common thing I get all the time, and I'm just like, okay. So this first story is, I was talking to just a random girl in my classroom, and I had mentioned to her that I was Puerto Rican, and then she continues to say, like, I really don't hope you find this rude or anything, but I was looking at you and I was like, I know she's not white and I know she's not black, but she's too dark to be a Mexican. Those were what she said, and I was just like, well, and then she continues on to saying, like, I just didn't expect you to say Puerto Rican, like, you don't look like a Puerto Rican. And I'm just like, what do Puerto Ricans look like? Like, all that comes up in my head is that meme on social media that says, you don't look Puerto Rican, and in the bottom it says, well, what am I supposed to look like? A bowl of arroz con gandules, because it's like one of the main dishes in our culture. Because there really isn't like one specific definition for Puerto Rican. Puerto Ricans are just all shapes and sizes and colors. And so I continue on with this conversation, and I'm just like, you know, Puerto Ricans are just all kinds of shapes and colors, like it's not really a specific one. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry about it, you know, I just kind of assumed, because like I've seen like on social media that all I see like Puerto Ricans are like J-Lo or like Indians, and I'm just like, no. I was just like, no, I mean, social media kind of just makes it seem like very different than what it really is. Like, we're not really like that, you know. So that's pretty much all I could say at that moment. I was just like, I don't know what to say. For my second scenario, it's, do you need a visa to be here? And I'm just like, very common question. This next story has actually happened with one of my closest friends. She had just at the moment didn't really know me very well and didn't really know much about Puerto Rico in general. And so we were getting our nails done, and she asked me this question. She's like, what visa did you use to get in here? And I'm like, I don't need a visa. And she's like, are you sure? Yeah, the Puerto Rican isn't sure if she needs a visa or not to be here, but okay. I'm like, I'm pretty sure. And she's like, are you sure? Because I saw like this movie once, and like the Puerto Ricans were coming in kind of like an immigrant kind of look. And I'm just like, whoa, she must have watched like a video from like the 1920s or something. But I was like, okay, continue. And she's like, you know, I kind of just thought it was like a Canadian thing where you need like a visa. And I'm like, no, you know, I have all the rights like everybody else. And she's like she continued for about 3 minutes to say that I was wrong, that I needed the visa. And I was just like, no. I'm sorry. And it's like something that I get asked a lot, like, do you need a visa to be here? And no, I don't. The next and final scenario has to be, why do you speak English without an accent? Most people assume just because I'm from Puerto Rico I should have a really thick accent when it comes to speaking English. And that is not true. The next scenario actually happened in a class with a professor. So this is something that happens in a professional setting and in a social setting, like very common. And I had only been here for about 3 months at that moment. And I had done a project on Puerto Rico, and she was like really impressed by it. She was like, oh, you know so much about this place. And I'm just like, yeah, well, I mean, I lived there my entire life. I've only been here for 3 months. And so she then proceeds to stop the class completely and says, it's just so amazing to see someone from a whole other country like not have a single bit of an accent when she speaks English. And I'm just like in my chair like, please don't, please don't. And she continues, and I'm just like, it's very common for Puerto Ricans to speak Spanish and English, and some of us don't really have an accent because it's something that we use on the daily, you know. And she's like, really? Because I just assume that it's all like, orale, orale. And I'm just like, and she says that in the classroom. And I couldn't believe my eyes. I was just like, I don't know, ma'am. Like, I was just like, sure, whatever floats your boat. But So I really hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope it makes you think critically and think that, you know, everything that's on social media, especially when it comes to cultures and other different places, are usually very stereotypical and they're not 100% true. I'm a clear image of that from a lot of people. I don't look how I look. I'm probably here illegally, and that I should have been speaking a whole different way of English. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video.